What's up you guys, I'm Dan, this is Frugal Not Cheap, and today we'll talk about the crazy run-up in car prices. If you're new to the channel, welcome. As of the filming, we've recently hit 200 subscribers. Thank you very much for that. Very pleased to see that the content is hitting a wider audience, and hopefully that means that it's beneficial to more people. For those of you that have been watching for a while, or maybe you stumbled on this channel because of my more popular videos, these are my review of the 2017 Tesla Model S that I bought back in March, and also a video about the economics of that purchase. But recently I had an interesting comment that was posted by Rude Boy J, and he asked whether things had changed now given the way that prices have gone way up. So I thought about this a little bit, did a little bit of research, and that's today's video. Thank you, Rude Boy J, for the suggestion. So what exactly is going on here? Now, you may have noticed that the price of a lot of things has gone up quite a bit. Recently, the Personal Consumption Expenditures Index, or the core PCE, which is the Fed's preferred inflationary measure, this is a price level, jumped up 4.1%. This was the largest increase since January of 1991. Year on year. And this index does strip out two of the very volatile categories in prices, which are food and energy prices. That's why we call it the core PCE. In any event, there's been a real supply chain crunch, and you may have noticed that a lot of things are backlogged. We had problems with sourcing paper, which were then related, of course, to sourcing lumber in the first place. And all kinds of things are delayed quite sharply. Relevant to today's talk is that there's been a heavy chip shortage as the major auto manufacturers canceled a lot of their orders when the pandemic hit, and probably were not expecting demand to recover as much as it has, and now they're left short. Now, Tesla was able to pivot a bit and use some microcontrollers instead of chips, and this has helped them to continue to pump out cars and continue to grow while other automakers are struggling, but still it is impacting them to some degree as well. In any case, what's happened is that due to this chip shortage, there's been a lack of production of vehicles on the market, and so inventories of new vehicles fell sharply this year. Here's some data from Business Insider running from February through September, and you can see that we fell from over 3.5 million vehicles in inventory down to less than 1 million, a very sharp decline. As a consequence of these rapidly falling inventories and robust demand, then of course this would push prices to go up, and they have. The average purchase price for a new car, which I already thought was very high earlier this year at around $40,000, is now up to $45,000 as of the latest tallies. Now, that's new cars. There's also been a major impact on the used car market as well, because shoppers are always looking at the two as alternatives. The average price paid for a used car has increased from about $20,000 all the way up to over $28,000. So this is a really, really huge increase. We're talking about very nearly a 50% increase, definitely over 40%. So as you can imagine, the economics of everything have changed quite a bit since I bought my 2017 Tesla Model S 75 back in March of this year. At that time, I paid $38,077 for my vehicle, which I think was in quite good shape in the exterior and also the interior, but had relatively high mileage at 60,885 miles. Thankfully for that model year, the drivetrain and battery are warranted for 8 years and unlimited miles. Here's the crazy thing, and I did at the time, by the way, suspect that my vehicle could appreciate in value, mostly though because of the full self-driving software. I do have the full self-driving computer on there, and I'm waiting to get the full self-driving beta. Currently my driving score is at a 96. Can't seem to get it up above 96 for very long, and I need to hold it above 96 long enough to be higher in the queue for a camera retrofit. So unfortunately my car is just a few months too old, where later in 2017 they started putting cameras that are a little bit better able to capture a wider spectrum of color than the cameras that are in my car. So it will be a free retrofit, but again I need to get my driving score up a little more so that I'm higher in the queue for this free upgrade or free retrofit for the cameras. Anyway, I expected that this would be one reason why my car would appreciate in value at some point, and maybe that is part of it to some degree. But of course, this major crunch in the new and used car market is probably the larger factor. According to Chase's My Car feature, my car is now worth $48,000 as of right around the beginning of this month. This is an increase of $9,564 from the purchase price, or 25%. So that begs the question, would I be willing to pay virtually $48,000 for my car now? Well, the thing is that things have really changed in sort of the calculus that was going on at the time. Of course, I wanted to get an electric vehicle, and from my opinion is that at the time of all the electric vehicles available on the market, that Teslas were superior. And so I was looking for either a Tesla Model S or a Tesla Model 3. And I was trying to balance out basically the looks and the hatchback, so practicality of the Model S, against the cheaper cost potentially of a Model 3. And at that time, it really wasn't a bad trade-off, in my opinion, between getting a slightly older but much more beautiful, in my estimation, more luxurious interior for the Model S, and also getting that hatchback, and then even sacrificing a little bit of range. But overall, I think at that time, it made more sense for me anyway, to go for the Model S rather than a Model 3. Now, however, things are a little bit different. So looking on Carvana, the cheapest Model S that I could find, this is also a 2017 Model S, happens to have lower mileage than mine at 37,000 miles, but it's got the same 75 kilowatt hour pack. This is going for, I think, the insane price of just under $55,000. So I definitely would not pay that myself. In fact, there are used Model 3s available for about $10,000 less. Here are two examples. One's the long range with 52,000 miles for just under $43,000. And we have a mid-range with much lower mileage, 20,000 miles, for about $44,000. So these two, when comparing these two options, the used Tesla Model S against the Tesla Model 3, I think that makes these Model 3s look fairly attractive. But, and here's the really crazy thing, is we actually need to look at new car prices in order to really get an idea of what might be the savviest thing to do. See, used Tesla car prices have just gone to insane levels because there's a backlog and a long delay between now and when you might be able to get a new car from Tesla directly. So just looking at their configurator here today on the day of this filming, which is November the 29th, looking at the cheapest Model 3, the rear-wheel drive, we're looking at estimated delivery all the way in June of 2022. So we're talking about essentially a 7-month delay in order to get this car. But the price, again, is lower than the used car prices that I was seeing out there. We're at around $41,000. You could even get the long range at $47,000 for not too much more than the used car prices we were looking at for 2018 models. So this is a pretty crazy situation. And I think you can see that if you were able to wait, it would probably make more sense just to get a new one. To make matters even more attractive for the new car is the fact that the administration has been passing all of this EV-friendly legislature, including tax credits. So if it were me, I would go ahead and put an order for one of those summer 2022 cars, as long as I could wait, of course, knowing that by that time all of this EV tax credit business will have settled, and that's going to really help with the purchase price. So that's probably what I would have done if I were stepping into the market right now. But that's a very different thing from considering whether or not a car purchase of $40,000 or $47,000 makes sense financially for you. So of course that's a separate question that should be given very careful consideration as well. Personally, I much prefer my old strategy of allowing cars to depreciate by about 45 to 50%, just buying a slightly older car than everyone else, and thereby getting to enjoy a nice vehicle that at a much lower total cost. And also because at that point they've depreciated quite significantly, so makes a lot of sense for me. Right now though, there's just not a whole lot of choice, so you might just have to bite the bullet paying more for a used vehicle of some kind, or even looking at a new vehicle because the market is just so topsy-turvy. But anyway, I hope you found this information helpful. If you did, please hit the like button and consider subscribing. Thank you very much for watching, and I will see you in the next video.